Hello everyone, this is MD Anderson recording outside the motorhome studio. Today I wanted to go over a little bit more with the Farad the Fiero. I've been having fun with the ultra capacitors that I got this last week, learning a little bit more about those. I'll show those to you in a little bit. Yesterday I had to go take a trip down to a place called Pick Apart, where they have all these salvaged vehicles, and you pick your part and you go for it. But my intent was actually for getting a new radiator for the Suburban. Unfortunately, they don't carry the radiator for a 6.2 liter diesel. But while I was there, I scoured a couple other things. As far as the dash goes with Farad, refocus. Alright, let's take the steering wheel off, get that out of the way. I have that nicely smooth finished. Do you feel that? It feels like plastic. I was really impressed with how smooth and how well I got that. But while I was at Pick Apart, I got these out of a Sunfire, Pontiac Sunfire. So, I think it's Pontiac. Oh well, it's one of them. But I think Sunfire or Sunbird, something like that. This is what I'm going to use for the air ducts. So, I was able to get 5 of them. And the funny thing is, when I was down there, and I pulled these out of the car, I took them up to the front and how much are these things? They're like, I don't know, nobody's ever bought those. People were buying transmissions and cross members or engines, manifolds, mufflers, things like that. So when it came to a dash part, they're like, we don't know what to charge for that. So they just let me have it for free. But it was $2 to walk in. So I got 5 of these things for $2. There are ways to get things that you want and what you need. So I was really excited with that. Right lately I've been working on the center area here, and I showed the brain on that right there. Very excited. Oh, and the other thing they didn't charge me for was, this came out of a Saturn, and it's to control the mirrors and stuff. But I want to add video cameras here in the car, and I may use this to control the video cameras for when I have the screen going. So on the dash, I've got the 19-inch monitor, and I will have the cameras going through the computer into the monitor. So hopefully I'll be able to adjust them and do things like that with it. So here are the supercapacitors. You can see that these are some big-time pieces of electronic devices. And when I first started using these things, it scared me to death. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have any experience with these things. And as I've always told my gymnast, experience changes everything. I'd read a lot about how when you first start charging these things, they draw so much amperage that most chargers can't handle the amount of current going through it. And you can see right there, you will. 3,000 farads, but as it says, it's only at 2.7 volts. That means it can put out a lot of current, but it doesn't put out much pressure, if you want to look at it that way. However, when I hook the 2 up, positive to negatives, like that, and then pull off the ends, now that gives me up to 5.4 volts. When I first started charging the supercapacitors, I was using these alligator clips. And you can see up closely, now it's just a regular alligator clip. Get you back into focus it there. A little too close, it won't focus in. Oh, there we go. Okay, see, just regular alligator clips. But the first time I did it, I held it on there for like 4 seconds. This wire started smoking, and if you look closely, you can see it melted the jaw off the poor alligator clip. So that would make Captain Hook happy. Clearly I'll be needing to get a couple more of these, so this will be put on the back burner for a little while as I get other things done with Farad. But I was really excited to have these, and I thought the name was kind of funny for the Maxwell name, because it was James E. Maxwell who came before Michael Faraday. But this has Maxwell name on it for somebody who didn't come up with the capacitance, which was of course Michael Faraday. Now this is the center console of Farad, and Just like the dashboard, I've been putting on a lot of resin, sanded it off, put it on, sand it off. I'm almost done with this piece, and I'm ready to get the grit down to a much finer grit on the sanding, so that it'll be just as nice and smooth. Eventually I'll add cup holders and stuff like that, but everything in its own due time. So hopefully next time I show you Farad, this will be a complete project. The computer motherboard will sit in here. The Arduino should sit in here as well. The hard drive and the power supply. So this is like a little computer case for the car. For the past week on the Dragonized presentations, I have gone out and contacted many corporations, hoping to see if they would take an interest into sponsoring the Dragonized presentations. I did get some positive feedback. I haven't yet been able to get a sponsor. However, I've noticed, even when I had the gym, even when I did like advertising, the very first responses I always got were negative, pessimistic, just, you know, yeah, you got a response, obviously it was noticed, but it wasn't received the way you'd hoped it would, and it wasn't reciprocated in giving you what it is that you wanted to get from it. With all of those things that I've tried, I've always seen that when you keep up the persistence, you do end up getting that positive results. So I will continue to try. Now this is the first time I ever went to a grocery store, picked up several different magazines only for the advertisements. Something with Lady Gaga on the front. I love Lady Gaga, she just makes me laugh. From her lyrics to her clothing when it's not made out of dead animals. I picked up those magazines specifically for the advertising because those are the companies who are aggressive to getting out there and making connections with new consumers. So I'm hoping they will find me as a venue in which they can do the same thing. However, in the meantime with the presentations, I am going to start contacting schools. Of course, it would be something I would have to charge for in order to make it happen. So if you would like a your Dragonized presentation come to your school, please send me an email at mdanderson@dragonbells.com, and I would be more than glad to send you the information. With all of this said, time to get back to working on Farad the Fiero, and I hope everybody has another great week.